The T-47 Airspeeder, also known as the Snowspeeder, is one of the many vehicles coming in Battlefront 2. I'm using the gameplay in the background of this video to provide evidence to just how powerful the Snowspeeder is and why you really should be using it. On top of this, the gameplay you're watching was filmed in Sweden at the development studio of Battlefront 2. About a week and a half ago, I was invited out by EA to play the full version of Battlefront 2, and they even let me record this gameplay. It was at this event that I was lucky enough to try out the Snowspeeder, and I realized then just how powerful it was. So we're going to be talking about the Snowspeeder today because I honestly think this is the best vehicle currently in Battlefront 2. Sure, the ARC 170 is a good vehicle and the LAAT is maybe nearly as good, but the Snowspeeder somehow manages to beat both of them. So today I'm going to break down the different abilities of the Snowspeeder and how I personally use them. I've been lucky enough to have a bit of a head start on you guys with the vehicle, so I've got some tips to give you on how to use it effectively, and more importantly, how to manage your abilities to get more kills and help the rest of your team. So let's get started. The Snowspeeder is an aerial vehicle, which means it handles a lot differently compared to an X-Wing or a TIE fighter. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but the lower vehicle speed does come in useful because it gives you more time attacking the ground. On top of this, the Snowspeeder comes with 3 abilities. The first is an afterburner, which increases speed for a short period of time. The second ability is a laser barrage, which fires a huge stream of pure damage wherever you aim. I'll be talking about that one later on in the video. And the third and final ability is a heat sink, which allows you to cool down your main cannons and keep firing. To properly use the Snowspeeder and get as many eliminations as possible, you have to understand when and where to use these abilities. So firstly, the afterburner should only be used when you need to evade a missile lock or speed away from the ground after making a pass. This is because as you get closer to the ground, you become vulnerable, and it's easier for people and other vehicles to deal damage and ultimately kill you. That means you should save the afterburner for when you need that extra speed. Whatever you do, do not use it to head towards the ground, because not only do you decrease the amount of time you have to fire on the enemy positions, but you also ensure that once you've finished the pass, you'll be flying away from them at a much slower speed, which usually means ion torpedoes and even just sniper fire can deal a lot of damage. Moving on, we've got the second ability, which is the laser barrage. I actually disagree with this ability entirely. I don't think it should be on the Snowspeeder. The vehicle is already more than powerful enough without this ability, and if I was a developer, I would personally remove the laser barrage and replace it with a guidance jammer similar to the TIE bomber. This way, the Snowspeeder has damage mitigation, but its overall damage output remains constant and based purely on its cannons. The problem with the laser barrage is that it's insanely powerful and its cooldown is relatively low. Even though I disagree with it, I do have some tips on how to use it. So when you do get around to using it, try and focus on hotspots to get 2 or 3 kills, and if there's an ATST, make sure you focus the laser barrage on that vehicle instead, because the ATST can actually shoot down the Snowspeeder quite easily. And finally, the last ability is the heat sink. The ability itself is really easy to use. The only thing you have to make sure of is that you activate it as often as possible, and make sure you're activating it just before you come in range of the stormtroopers, because that way your main cannons won't overheat and you'll be able to get 2, maybe 3 more kills if you're lucky. Anyway, those are the abilities. They are useful and relatively strong for a 200-point vehicle. And yes, you heard me correctly, the Snowspeeder is only 200 battle points. So the gameplay you're seeing in the background now only costs 200 points. And yes, I do think that's going to be changed pretty quickly, either by nerfing the vehicle itself or by adjusting the cost in-game. But anyway, what makes the Snowspeeder so powerful is its main cannons. They seem to kill infantry in roughly 3 hits, and I'm not talking about direct hits. The blaster shots deal a ton of splash damage and are already pretty accurate to begin with. This lets you get shots and damage into the trenches on Hoth, and even if it's not direct damage, you've still got a good chance of killing some enemies. The cannons are probably the best part of the Snowspeeder. They do, however, require a cooldown if you overheat them. Now this can be avoided with good weapon management, so making sure you keep an eye on the overheat bar in the center of your screen is crucial, but if you're not very good at this or just have to keep shooting because there's so many stormtroopers, then just activate the heatsink ability. This does allow you to just keep firing in those situations where the overheats would have stopped you, and is a really powerful ability when used correctly. Anyway, that's the Snowspeeder. Should it be nerfed? Probably. It is very powerful considering it only costs about 200 battle points, which is 3 times cheaper than an X-Wing, and it's so cheap in fact that as long as you deal a little bit of damage in your first spawn, you can just hit respawn and have enough battle points to buy the Snowspeeder right at the start of the game, which puts you well ahead of the Imperial team who have to save up 600 battle points to afford a TIE fighter, and even then there's no guarantee they'll be able to shoot you down because they'll be too busy dealing with your teammates who will be in X-Wings and A-Wings. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new about the Snowspeeder. If you want to see more Battlefront 2 videos like this one, then subscribe and leave a comment down below telling me what you want to see next in terms of topics, vehicles, weapons, or even heroes. I'll see you next time, and may the Force be with you.